All right. Good morning, you guys. It is a beautiful, beautiful Monday morning. Beautiful Monday morning up here. All right. So this week we're going to be talking about cardiovascular conduction and the EKG, which stands for electrocardiogram. Just in case you didn't know, that is the TEK we are going over this week. This is a pretty relatively short presentation with only 7 slides. It shouldn't be too difficult to comprehend. I feel like I made it very comprehensive and easy to understand. If you have any questions, as usual, please ask me. Notify me via email. Without further ado, let's get started. All right, we only got 2 chunks to worry about. Here's the first one. This is the cardiovascular conduction chunk. This is chunk number 1. This is the picture that's associated with this chunk, as you will need this picture the whole time. Okay. Just like last time, in the next few slides, this picture will be available. It will have some writing over it, but this is the actual picture if you just need the actual picture by itself. All right. So here we go. All right, so number 1, electrical conduction of the heart. Okay, that's what we're going to be talking about because that's what this whole chunk is about. Okay, now I know you guys can read, but I'm going to read it and I'm going to explain essentially what it says. So, this is the order of how the heart is stimulated electrically by nerves. You see all the little yellow things, right? Those are all the nerves to pump blood from the heart to other parts of the body. In other words, this is how the heart beats. Okay, the heart can't beat without being stimulated electrically first. And the only thing in our body that stimulates anything electrically is nerves. Okay, the heart is a muscle, therefore, it is innervated by nerves in order for it to work. Okay, all right, so we got a total of, how do I say this? So essentially, we have 4 nerve bundles that our heart utilizes in order to beat. So this is actually going in order, and I'll show you what these things are. They're also in the picture as well. Number 1, we got the sinoatrial or SA node, okay, which is right here if you can see it. All right, this beats from 60 to 100 beats per minute or BPM. It is the main pacemaker of the heart. So if this is going wrong, this when your pacemaker is not going right, and it can affect how fast your heart beats. And obviously, if it beats too low, that decreases your blood pressure, which does decrease your blood volume, and it can lead to you dying. So that's that. Sends the electrical signals to the AV node, which is the next node right here, which we'll go into in a second. And it aids in contracting the atria of the heart, given the fact that it is in the atrium. Okay, it goes for both. As you can see, some of the fibers even goes over here. Then you got the atrioventricular or AV node. This is the 40 to 60 beats per minute. It's the secondary pacemaker of the heart. So in the event that the sinoatrial node or SA node is not doing what it's supposed to do, then this one would take over and do what it has to do. Now this does slow the heart rate down considerably. People whose SA node is not working correctly typically use their AV node primarily as their primary pacemaker, and this can lead to a couple of health problems. But they can still lead okay or relatively normal lives. Send signal to the bundle of His, which is all lap stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. And this is actually needed to slow the electrical signal of the SA node. If you look, it's 60 to 100, while this one is 40 to 60. If your heart is beating 100 beats per minute and you're resting, that is obviously not good. So it needs the atrioventricular node to slow that signal down so your heart can beat normally around 60 to 70 beats per minute. Okay, on to the next one. All right, so this is the same thing. Continue. Number 3 is that atrioventricular bundle, or otherwise known as the bundle of His. Okay, which is all these little bundles right here. Okay, these bundles carries the signal down the intraventricular septum of the heart to the Purkinje fibers. So real quick, this is the interventricular septum of the heart. Okay, it's in the middle. Okay, it's in the middle of the ventricles, which is why it's called interventricular, and the septum because it's the middle septum, like the septum of the nose, the middle of the nose. Okay, and it goes to the Purkinje fibers, which is the very last one. Purkinje fibers is responsible for electrically stimulating the ventricles. to contract or relax. It's 20 to 40 beats per minute, and it's the last resort pacemaker. So if your SA node and your AV node is not working for whatever reason, this is the last pacemaker that it can resort to. Obviously, if your heart's beating anywhere from 20, if it's moving from 20 to 40 beats per minute, that's obviously not good for you. Okay, so you can't really survive like that. The Purkinje fibers are at the bottom, okay, right all down here. So it makes sense that they're responsible for stimulating the ventricles to contract and relax, okay? And if you want to remember the order of these four fibers, just remember sweet Annie hates peppers, okay? The S for S is for the first one, A is for the second one, H for the third one, which is the bundle of His. This one, atrioventricular bundle or bundle of His. That's what the H is for. And then peppers is for Purkinje fibers, which is the fourth one. Okay, so sinoatrial node, atrioventricular node, bundle of His for H, and then peppers is Purkinje fibers. All right, and then we got chunk number 2, which is the EKG. That's a picture of it so you can see it. There you go. All right, that's a picture of it. I'm not going to really talk about this part all too much as it doesn't really deal with what we're about to talk about. It's kind of self-explanatory after I explain what you're going to see. All right, so the 2 EKG. All right, now really quick, understand that the EKG can be generated because the heart makes sounds and has electrical activity going on. All right, there are 5 parts of the EKG wave. Okay, the P, and those are P, Q, R, S, and T, as you can see in this picture. Okay, but here's what you really need to know from this slide. It's very important. The word depolarization means contraction, or when the heart is pumping out blood, it's pushing it out, it's contracting. While repolarization means recovery, or when the heart is filling back up with blood, it's recovering. It's not contracting or pushing it out. It's filling back up with blood so it can push it out later. Okay. And here's the very last one. Yep, very last one. All right, EKG continue. There are 3 phases of the heart contraction on an EKG, okay, which they're actually highlighted in the picture, but I'm going to explain each one. You got atrial depolarization, or the lub. If you guys have ever heard the heart make sounds, it sounds like lub dub, lub dub, lub dub, lub dub. The very first sound, lub, is your atrium or atrial depolarizing. Otherwise, they're contracting. They're pushing the blood. Heart is pushing the blood out of both left and right atria into the ventricles. It's pushing it from the top to the bottom. And this is just the P wave. As you can see, it's just a P wave, nothing else. Okay? Then you got ventricular depolarization, which is the dub. So lub dub, lub dub. This is when your ventricles are contracting. Okay? This is the second and the loudest wave of the EKG, because the ventricles have to be very strong, especially the left one, to pump the blood all over the body. It makes sense why this is the loudest or the highest peak in the whole EKG. It's the part that you've noticed before you notice anything else. All right. As I said, the heart is pushing blood out of both left and right ventricles, and it includes the QRNS waves, also known as the QRS complex. Okay. As you can see, QRS, right? And then last but not least, you got the ventricular repolarization. This is the last yet faint sound wave of EKG. It's right here. If you can see it, it's that T wave. Okay, the ventricles are refilling with blood. Remember, repolarization means recovery or refilling with blood. Just remember the word re. And it only includes the T wave. And that is it. And those pictures will help you, learn what's really going on here. So yeah, but at any rate, that is the video. That's all I have for you. I hope this was clear and concise for you. There will be an assignment attached to this information. And on that note, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me via email or Google Classroom, and I will talk to you guys next week. Adios.